I remember seeing it in my dream.
Getting chased seemed like a nightmare because it was 19 inches of Venom! Y'all thought I'm going to leave that behind? I told you I'm not leaving it behind, bro. I'm going to keep going with it. Alright, if you're new, go ahead and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 55,000 subscribers before the end of the month, or maybe even beginning of next month. And also like the video as well. I'm trying to get to 500 likes. You guys killed it on that last video, so I greatly appreciate it. I'm going to be trying to make a similar video, kind of just like this. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to be talking about every missed opportunity in Marvel Spider-Man 2. And let me tell you, there's a fucking lot. There's about like 15, so buckle up, here we go. Numero uno. Of course, it's the Venom fight / chase scene. Like, bro, we could have had this in the middle of New York, in the middle of this New York, and it would have been perfect. And there's like 2, 3, 4 moments where they could have easily had this, and one of them's the very end, where it's like, if you want me, you have to come and chase me and catch me, buddy. There could have been a quick sequence where we're swinging away, and we're swinging as fast as we can, and we have Venom right on our tail trying to chase us down, or the other way around where we're chasing him. And it's kind of sad too, because when you look at Web of Shadows did this. Web of Shadows had you in like the quarter of the way through the game after you fight Wolverine. You basically go off, you fight Venom for a second, he runs off, you chase him through New York for like a good 5 minutes, and then you fight him again in a boss battle, and you make him run off again. It's one of the coolest moments in the whole game, and they could have easily done something like that in this game. Well, I mean, like, what's holding them back? Besides time in a rush fucking studio. Besides that, I mean, like, they could have easily done something really, really nice like that. They could have just like made Venom just seem a little bit more imposing, or a little bit more awesome to see him maybe running around. Maybe even doing that too, where he's sucking in people, spitting them out as symbiotes. Like, that would have been pretty cool, right? He already does that to Mary Jane at one point, so why couldn't he do that to random civilians throughout the city? Whatever. I had a lot to say about that because, dude, that's one of the biggest missed opportunities in this whole freaking game. And it pisses me off that it's not in this game. It's really annoying that they didn't do that. Maybe they'll make it up in some type of carnage moment in the next game. I don't think they're going to be doing DLC. I'll explain that in the next video. More of Teacher Peter, or Peter Teacher, whatever. I wanted to see this more. I mean, like, they could have easily expanded upon that. They were talking about how this is something new for it, and of course they could have easily done something with the students, them having problems at school with bullies, them having problems at home with parents. They could have done something easily with Spider-Man and Peter. Even something like the university missions with Miles, but with Peter. They could have had like 6 of those with both of those characters combined. I don't understand. That's a missed opportunity right there. And I hope they kind of go back to it in the future. Maybe make it a little bit more interesting, because just having him get fired after the first day of school at a fucking prestigious university seems a bit fucked, you know? I mean, that seems a bit screwy, and I feel like they could have done something very interesting with that whole concept in general. And they do nothing with it. It also could have gone into my third point, which is making him more reluctant to join Harry in his quest to heal the world or whatever with the whole EMF situation. That whole thing seemed like, you know, even when you have like Norman coming in, he's like, oh, you're not joining yet? You know, like Harry's like, you know, he's reluctant. He's not joining yet. And it's like, why? You don't have a job. You just got fired, Peter. This is the most perfect opportunity to jump on this job with your best friend. And instead he's like, I'm on the fence. And then of course he does join. But it would have made more sense if he was still the teacher, having, you know, those students that he cared about, and actually, you know, flesh that out. And then EMF comes in, kind of blowing that off. And it's like, oh man, I could have this job instead. It's a lot more lenient. I'm my own boss. They could have done something easily like that. But again, I digress. They didn't do it. Numero cuatro. I said that horribly. I'm not Spanish. I'm not English. I'm not Mexican. I did that to Brazil too. I said I'm not Portuguese, and I'm like, bro, that's Brazilian. Just dumbass. All right. Once Kraven shows up, they really could have done something very interesting with the characters, like all the villains that they had there. Instead, they kill them all off at the end, off screen. Like, they had Scorpion get killed on screen, but like the big thing that I'm talking about here is having Spider-Man or even Miles like go out and protect these villains for like a mission. Just watch out for the hunters, kill the hunters, have the fucking villain that you already have the assets for maybe help you out a little bit, and then boom, you have a freaking mission where you're protecting villains. And maybe even with Peter, you see him trying to protect one against Kraven. He gets thrown off to the side easily, and then obviously kills the villain right in front of Peter, which would have been so much better than, I don't even know, he didn't even really react to Scorpion getting killed. We don't even know if he really saw Scorpion getting killed, because he's like, oh, he's not making he's not making a team, he's making a hit list of people he's hunting. But he doesn't react to like, oh my god, he killed Scorpion just now. He's not like, oh, there's no video feed of it from what I've seen. And he's just like, Felicia, like, bro, that was so brushed over. And besides, again, that we do protect Black Cat, I guess. That's one thing that we do. We do protect Black Cat. But besides her, it's like a 5 minutes, like, bro, I'm just saying, they could have gone deep with the villains in here, but I digress. It could have been more interesting than Black Cat trying to chase down her fucking girlfriend in Paris. This one's a weird one, because they made J. Jonah Jameson seem like such a big deal in the marketing and whatnot, like, oh, he's back at the Bugle, blah blah blah, but we only see him once in person and then like a couple times over a video feed. The only time I guess we see him again is during that video feed before the Scream boss fight and after the Scream boss fight where she quits. And it's like Mary Jane's job at the Bugle is so insignificant, you could quite literally replace that with any other job and it would be the same plot line, basically. So there was no point to bring in the Bugle if A, you're not going to do something interesting like maybe go and visit the Bugle, which they had concept art for. Oh my god, there's symbiotes there. Oh, it's the third act. No wonder why that wasn't in the game. It's because they cut 99% of that shit out. So basically, I'm thinking that they could have added Eddie in this game. Not as like Venom. I'm not saying you could have made him as Venom. I'm just saying they could have made him in there for the future, for foreshadowing. They could have been like, here's Eddie. This is our version of Eddie. And this is how he acts, and this is who he is. And they could have easily also done a fake out where maybe you make him a side character where he follows Mary Jane around on some reports or whatnot. Or maybe he's there in the tunnels with Peter. And then Venom shows up after that. And it's like, holy shit, Eddie was there too. But then it's actually Harry. And it's a good fake out. But instead, they do nothing with that. They had concept. They had probably a story with it. And they probably thought about Eddie, but they're like, nah. Why set up the future for the games if we're not going to do anything with the character in this game? I don't know. It seems really ridiculous that they didn't do that. They could have done a lot more with the Bugle, a lot more with the characters in the Bugle, and I found it very disappointing that they didn't do that. This one's a very fun one too to talk about, because like Agent Venom could have done a lot in this game. He could have very much explored Harry's character, his personality. They could have explored his anger with the symbiote, or like the symbiote's anger in general, and showing moments, very small moments of outbursts, because we don't see that in the Tombstone mission. I don't think we see him, of course, push the door open, but that wasn't like him getting angry. That was like the symbiote focusing on pushing the door open. I don't know how to explain that. It was like a moment of strength. It wasn't a moment of anger. And personally, they could have really delved more deep into the symbiote. And that's also another thing, is that they should have gave us more time with the symbiote. But just expressing Harry's anger could have foreshadowed Venom and showing that the symbiote is really affecting Harry. Like, Harry, are you okay? You've never been this angry before. And seeing him actually get mad, besides Kraven stabbing Peter and then he gets angry, they could have done that before. I'm just saying. Again, more time with the symbiote, and even giving the symbiote its own moveset. Like, I know that a lot of people might criticize this, but like, it doesn't feel like the symbiote's any really different than what we've been doing. And even like throughout my playthrough, I'm like, Peter, you don't need this suit. Like, you're already just as powerful, if not more powerful, without the suit than you were with the suit. So it's like, there's no real difference. Like, if like there was like certain things that really, of course we have the special moves, but there's not really a lot in there that with the moveset that makes it seem like it's that much different, in my opinion. Just besides the special moves, it doesn't make it feel any more different than what we already do. And same thing with Venom as well. I think that there should have been more Venom missions. Kind of like Ultimate Spider-Man. In Ultimate Spider-Man, there's like every second mission, there's a Venom mission. And there's like so much Venom gameplay in that they could have done the same thing here if they maybe even started the symbiote arc a little bit sooner. Maybe in the beginning of the game. Somewhere maybe in like the halfway mark of the first act. And give Peter that symbiote. And then go in, I don't know. There's a lot that they could have done with that whole symbiote arc, and how much they could have really pushed that envelope. And also with Venom as well. They could have done a lot more with Venom a lot earlier. Like, you have to play through like 70% of the game to get to that Venom mission. And essentially, when you get to that Venom mission, all it does is, you know, maybe 30 minutes of gameplay, and then you have to go and do that again or have a save file with it. So I think that, again, they could have done a lot more with everything that they had with the symbiote and the whole Venom storyline. And I think they could have easily, for the third act, done like 5 to 6 missions with Venom, where you're going around trying to enslave people, where you're going around attacking Oscorp facilities, doing certain things. Like, they could have done a lot more. And even again, the concept art had Venom having different movesets. But they're going to use that for the next game. I'm sorry, I forgot. So here's one of the last parts. It's going to be the rapid fire part. It's going to be like honorable mentions. It's going to be really, really good. All right, this one's my fun one. Oh, a scene with Miles and Ganke making the suit together. Why? Why didn't they do this? I can't even remember the scenes that they had together. They had one scene in the beginning, and then like one scene at the school, and then one scene at the end where he saves Ganke. Miles saves Ganke. And then that's it. That's all the scenes they had together. There could have been 2 to 3 scenes where Ganke's hanging out in Miles' room and they're making a suit together. And that's like, whoa, look at that suit. Yeah, we might need that in the future sometime. It really harnesses my new power. That's all they needed to say. And then they explain the suit. But they don't. He just pops onto the screen with a brand new suit, and we're expected to accept that. And like, it's a bad suit to begin with. But at least they would have had some type of plot relevance, kind of like what they do with the anti-Venom suit, or the advanced suit, or the symbiote suit, or even Miles' classic suit, or even Miles' sweater suit. Like, they could have done so much more than that, and they just don't do any of it, and it's sad. It's sad. A Shocker recreation scene. Why didn't they do this? Why didn't they have Yuri screaming out Shocker? You sons of bitches. You missed every opportunity with Yuri screaming out, Shocker, I'm gonna chase you to the ends of the earth, while he's swinging around. And would have been so good to see Shocker's reaction. Would have been a parallel here. Where in the first game, Shocker's acting kind of out of character. Where he's acting clammed up, and he's kind of like acting like very out of character. And then Peter's doing the same thing to Shocker, and Shocker's like, are you okay? You never acted like this before, what the hell? And it would have been so funny. It would have been so good. And hearing freaking Yuri scream out, where's Spider-Man? And screaming out, where? And he kind of does do that reminiscent, I'm gonna chase you down, and I'm gonna like kill you and stuff like that to Kraven and stuff like that every once in a while in the boss fight. But besides that, I think for Shocker, it would have been a lot funnier, and it would have been a lot better, and it would have been a lot more impactful to see the villains kind of interact with Spider-Man and symbiote Spider-Man. But I'll get into that in a second. The next one's no challenge modes. Why didn't they have any challenge modes? Bro, you had 3 playable characters. Spider-Man, Miles Morales Spider-Man, and freaking Harry Venom. And, like, you could have had a rampage mode where you're just fighting a bunch of freaking Kraven's men and Oscorp people as Venom. You have to kill as many people as fast as possible. Or you could have had a mode where you're fighting boss battles as both as both Miles and Peter. And you could have done, like, multiple boss fight replayability things, or even challenge maps on top of the cities. I don't even know, man. They could have easily borrowed that aspect. They already borrow so much from freaking Arkham anyway. They said they wanted to make this Marvel's Arkham when they first made the first game. So I don't know why they didn't add challenge maps in some way, shape, or form. It could have also helped the longevity of the game and the replayability of the game. But I digress. The next one's more bully scenes. Like, I want to see more bully Yuri scenes. Bully Lorenthal scenes, I think is what they call it. But MJ, Harry, that could have really helped. More subtle bully scenes is what I mean too. Not just like, how about you pop some more pills, you piece of shit? Tell me how you felt. Like, damn, bro, chill. How about we have more subtle scenes before that, before he snaps, where he goes and visits Harry every once in a while, goes home to MJ every once in a while, hangs out with Miles every once in a while. You know what I mean? Instead, we get none of that. It's so sudden and so fast, and we only get one scene where he's actually a dickhead. I honestly think they could have done something with J. Jonah Jameson too, where he breaks into the Bugle, and there's another aspect where they could have brought the Bugle in, and he kind of like intimidates J. Jonah Jameson for messing with him, and that could have ended in a funny podcast. Or even Danica, man. The shit she was talking, I was expecting Spider-Man to burst through her goddamn bedroom door, smash her keyboard and mouse in half, break her microphone, and throw her halfway across New York. And he just took it like a bitch. And honestly, man, if I was Symbiote Spider-Man and I was hearing that type of shit, man, there would be no survivors from that. That's all I'm saying. I'm clearly joking, but I'm just saying there could have been really good scenes where we get, Peter going around talking shit, and we just didn't. We just never did. Another missed aspect that was kind of one of the last honorable mentions is Miles doing more than just chasing Lee and getting kind of sidelined by Peter. Like, he really doesn't have a lot to do in this game besides save Peter and save fucking Mr. Negative. And that's it. Mr. Negative and saving Peter or getting scolded by Peter or thrown off by Peter is basically his whole plot line. And then the college essay, that's a little goofy too. But, I mean, there wasn't really a lot to do with Miles in this game, and I hope they kind of do a little bit more, or at least make his villains a little bit more personal, maybe, or do something more, because I didn't like the side missions that he had. I didn't like any of that. I mean, it was all just very boring stuff. And he could have done a lot more. And here's another thing too, is that there was a whole ass setup for his missions in the last game. Kingpin, bro. Wasn't he trying to take over Harlem? Why didn't they introduce that again? Why didn't they bring in Kingpin and make him one of the villains in this game? He was also in the trailer, by the way, on the screen. And they could have easily made him a Miles villain, where he's trying to take over Harlem again. And they could have done something with that and his whole team, but instead, we get a nameless, I don't remember the dude trying to steal the musical art, bruh. Do you? His name is Boss. That's all I remember. The Boss. I don't know this donator, whoever the fuck this is. Nobody cares. If he was associated with Kingpin, it might have been a little bit more interesting, but there's not even a reference there. Maybe they're saving it for the third game, but they could have set it up in this game too. Just saying. They literally set it up in his spin-off game. Why else would they do that if they weren't going to do it for the sequel? Goofy. And the last one is more Miles and Peter's boss fights together. The only one we get is the beginning and the end. The Sandman one and the Venom one. That's the only time they fight together. And I feel again, with the symbiote, there could have been a boss with Lizard, maybe a quick boss, where they're fighting together. And, Miles is starting to see a little bit more of the change, a little bit. I guess, that chase was good enough. And then after that, I don't know. I wanted to see more of Miles and Peter together, fighting together. Because that first Sandman one was perfect. The change between Miles and Peter, the switching was perfect timing. Same thing with Venom too, was okay. I think they could have done a little bit better with that, but it was great. It was great overall. All right, the very last one. Man, this is a long video. I didn't expect it to be this long. I guess I had a lot to say. Is Black Cat being Peter's enabler, or just overall more villains being basically seen in this game and seeing Peter change over time. And even the NPCs too. The NPCs don't do nothing. You go around a symbiote Peter, they're like, oh yeah, cool. High five, selfie. Oh, I fainted on you. Nothing changes with that. And it's very disappointing. Because Web of Shadows, again, right back to the beginning. Web of Shadows did this shit too. Where you change into the black suit and everybody's like, whoa, what the fuck? You killed Spider-Man. You disgusting. You took his place. You're disgusting, you bastard. I've heard that. I just played that game last night. And I'm walking around just switching suits to see what happens. It's very interesting. And they don't do any of that in this game. It's so bizarre. Insomniac, known for their detail. You walk around, you're hearing conversations, full-blown conversations from NPCs. Don't react to symbiote Spider-Man. And then we get the scenes where we know that all of his villains are dead and they don't get to react to symbiote Spider-Man. And they're all dead before he gets the symbiote. Before he gets the symbiote. Do I have to say it again? Before he gets the symbiote. Not even after or during. Before. And it's damn, bro. You had a chance to really flush out the change in Peter. Instead, it's so rapid. And it doesn't feel like anything that's actually natural. Again, it's just a possession story. This isn't an addiction story. No one's addicted to the symbiote. Maybe Harry is, but Harry just says he needs it back because he quite literally is dying. He literally needs it back. Because he's dying. It's not withdrawal. If Peter took it off now, he's not addicted to it. There's still a little piece inside. That whole allegory is stupid. Because now there's a little piece inside he's always addicted. And he's going to get the anti-venom suit. The whole addiction storyline is garbage. But they could have really made it interesting by having more villains come in and seeing Peter kind of slowly have a downfall here in front of these villains. And them seeing how bad he's become. And it's not, it just feels like a wasted opportunity to not have Black Cat and Peter interact, seeing how he's changed, and maybe her even commenting something. It just feels so rushed. And obviously they admitted that it was. So that's all I gotta say. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for all the support recently. This was a very fun video to make, and I hope that you guys enjoyed as well. Go ahead and comment down below your guys' thoughts and what missed opportunities you guys thought Marvel Spider-Man 2 had in their game, and I would love to hear it in the comments below. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys in my next one. Peace out.